Like with most games, I'm late to the party on this one. I don't know what I thought this game was, but after seeing it pop up on my Steam time and time again for the past couple of months, I caved. Going into Megabonk, I was completely blind. I wasn't sure if it was a game that I wanted to make a video out of or not, but after some consideration, I decided I'm gonna 100% this. I had no clue that Megabonk would become my addiction for the oncoming days. Sleep, don't need it. Meals, don't want them. Friends, don't have them. I had no idea that I would go run after run after run, each one thinking that this would be it, only to end shortly after. And I never would have guessed that my actual best run would be my last. But rewind to the very beginning. I was given two options for characters, Fox and Sir Ophie. I liked Fox's character design better, so I went with him. Loading into the first map, the forest, we only have one objective: find the boss portal. Now remember, I had went into this completely blind and decided that throughout my time playing this game, I'm not going to look up any Megabonk content, I'm not going to look up any tips or tricks or other runs. I'm just going to experience the game with my own thoughts and opinions. So all of my experienced players, I make a lot of questionable decisions, but you can't blame me for that one. I ain't know what I was doing. If you don't know how Megabonk works, you start off in your map at level 1 with only one weapon depending on your character. There's a handful of stats and categories that you could upgrade by running around and finding these shrine statues and other things around the map, as you can complete the map by defeating the boss. Throughout your run, more and more mobs will spawn and they'll scale in difficulty, so things get harder as you go on. Sometimes they'll spawn in swarms, sometimes there are elite mobs, and others are even mini bosses. But I'm not even fully aware of all of this yet. This is still my first run. Run number 1 starts out by just moving around, killing some of these goblins with my fire staff, the default weapon for Fox. After only a few kills, I level up to level 1, and I'm greeted with this screen that gives me 3 options. Now each option when you level up is either going to be a weapon or it's going to be a tome. Different weapons have different properties, of course, and different tomes are essentially upgrades for your stats along the right side. Each weapon, tome, and item have different rarities that are, of course, random throughout your run. If you select a weapon or tome that you already have, it'll just level up that existing item, and we have a limited amount of slots as seen in your inventory on the left. I didn't recognize this. I thought we had unlimited slots. I didn't realize this until later on, but I accidentally end up selecting the projectile speed tome, thinking that if I clicked it, it would show me more information, but no. It just selected it. It's funny that this was my very first tome selection because it's probably my least selected tome throughout my entire time playing this game, but hey, what are you gonna do? I ran into this Magnet Shrine, the Shrine of Soot, which drags in all the XP from around the map towards you. As I level up, I select my other tome, the Damage Tome, which should help me kill these mobs a little bit easier. We end up running into this NPC, the only NPC that you can find throughout the maps, the Shady Guy, and he has his own shop. I decide to save my money and run into him later, as on my next level up, we select the Bone, which bounces from one enemy to another after throwing it. After a couple more level ups and a couple more chests, I pick up that movement is crazy in this game. You can slide and jump out of the slide for increased movement and more fluid gameplay going around the map. And in the top right of my screen, I see that it tells me the price of chests. They go up with each chest that I open, so they get more expensive the more I open chests. I walk up to this charge shrine, and after staying within its radius for a few seconds, it offers us 3 different stat level ups. 3 minutes into the run, the first mini boss appears. Chunkum the Terrible, this big old pig. He's hunting us down, but we end up picking up this clock power up, which freezes time, allowing us to take care of him real easily. Mini bosses will pretty much always drop a chest, and as we go pick it up, we get our very first epic item, the Slurp Gloves. A couple minutes later, we get our first legendary item, the Ice Cube. Now, every item acts passively, so you don't have to worry about using them. You gotta focus on your movement and maneuver around different mobs and bosses as they come up. We just focus on going around, interacting with shrines, chests, and anything else I could find. Passively leveling up and destroying all the monsters in our way, as long as we can do enough damage. I don't really have any clue what I'm doing at this point still. I'm just running around trying to see what the map has to offer. With 2 minutes left in the run, I find and interact with the boss portal, summoning the boss for that stage of the round. But at the exact same time, a mini boss spawns, so I'm forced to fight 2 bosses at once.
Oh, I just did 2 bosses at once. W, I'm lit. I'm lit.
I'm lit.
We focused on the stone golem, taking him out, but I had completely neglected a little bark. As the clock hits 0, we get a notification that the final swarm is coming. And instead of goblins and skeletons that we were fighting before, these ghosts start to spawn. I'm having some trouble to survive, but I happen to run into this clutch time freeze and was able to knock out Lil Bark while having everything frozen. Completed my first run on my very first attempt, unlocking a new character, Clank. Now, after the boss is defeated, we have this endless wave of ghosts, which only get harder the longer we survive, as around the 1 minute mark, these black ghosts begin to spawn and proved to be way too much for me to handle, ending my first run at 11 minutes and 2,500 kills.
Maybe a skill issue. It confirms I am dead. Look at my guy. Okay. Tier 1 complete. So that might just be endless until, you know what I mean? Whatever. Top 77% worldwide. Not bad.
Honestly, not too bad for my first run when I had no clue what I was doing. After the run ended, I'm messing around in the unlock section and I figure out that there's this currency that transfers between runs, which lets you unlock new weapons, characters, and items called silver. But obviously, I don't have much silver now. You gain silver from playing the game, completing challenges, doing all type of stuff. So I head straight on to run number 2. For this one, I use the other character that you start out with, Ufi. And it turns out that every character also has a special ability which increases as you level up throughout your run. Fox gains luck every level up, which increases the chance of your items, weapons, and tomes being at a higher rarity. And Ufi gains armor per level, which means the more armor that you have, the less damage that you receive. His beginner weapon is a sword, which attacks in the direction that you're facing rather than auto-aiming towards enemies. It's a bit different to get used to, and while I thought that being able to aim would provide more control and feel better as an experience, I'm not a fan. We pick up a size tome and a cooldown tome to increase our size and increase our attack speed. As for our second weapon, we try out the chunkers. Now I'm not gonna lie, this is trash. I probably use this as much as I use the projectile speed tome. Not at all. Throughout my entire time playing this game, I never find a good use for chunkers. Maybe I'm the one that's trash, but hey, I wasn't feeling this one. We find this Moai statue, which gives you a free item, and we get the Thunder Mitts, which...
On hearing an enemy clap their cheek so hard it generates a lightning strike. You gotta do it. We gotta do it.
We also end up finding a present, which unlocks this little Santa hat. Pretty cool accessory for the Christmas time event around the time I was playing. We're able to get our cooldown tome all the way up to level 12, so we're attacking super fast with our sword, and it's at a pretty decent size, letting us defeat Lil Bark once again. But same as last one, we died during the wave of black ghosts in the final swarm. After almost 2,700 kills, this is technically a new record. We're in the top 73% instead of 77, but still, we've got a long way to go. While choosing my character for the next run, I see that there's somebody with a gun, and to unlock them, we need to buy the weapon, Revolver, which requires us to get 7,500 total kills. We're almost there, so I switch back to Fox in order to play run number 3, and this time, I'm playing on tier 2 of the forest. Now there's different tiers of maps, and you unlock the next tier by completing the previous one. For some reason, on my second run, I didn't want to play on tier 2. I thought it'd be more difficult, but it just unlocks more of the map for you to play on, so there's no reason in playing on the lower tiers if you're trying to get the most kills as possible. But unfortunately, for run number 3, it wasn't nearly as good as the first two. We pick up a sword, a regen tone, and a size tone, but our damage just isn't good enough to keep up with the swarm, and we get overwhelmed for my shortest run yet. Going right back into it, continuing the trend, run number 4 was even worse than 3, dying after not even 2 minutes, but I was sure to make run number 5 my best. I run around collecting what I could find, eventually running into this boss curse.
Boss curse? I don't know what that does.
I will find out very, very soon. Our second weapon for this run is a bow, and I run with the regen and attack speed tone. Once again, I had never thought to refresh or skip my level ups because I didn't know there was a limit to the tomes and weapons that you could get. That was on me. I hit another boss curse, and 45 seconds later, the mini boss spawns, but instead of 1, it's 3. Since we hit those 2 extra boss curses, 2 extra bosses had spawned. But we actually ended up with a really good item for killing bosses, the moldy cheese. We take them out pretty easily because of our increased damage and poison damage from the cheese, getting 3 chests in the process. I run into as many chests and shrines as possible, and feeling strong enough, I hit the boss portal, summoning 3 bosses. This is when I come to the realization that the boss curses affect all the boss spawns, not just the mini boss ones. We run around doing pitiful damage, and At the 2-minute mark, the other mini bosses spawn for a total of 6 bosses I'm fighting at one time. But to even my own surprise, I'm actually able to take them all out. I collect all of the chests that spawn from the bosses, and after they're taken out, the final swarm appears. I gotta hurry up and get as many items and chests as possible, but if I get too greedy staying in the final swarm to farm my XP, I'll end up dying to these ghosts that just one-shot me out of nowhere. We stayed for about a minute and 15 seconds, just barely getting out and taking us to tier 2 of the forest map, the Deep Forest. Our first chest gives us the first legendary of the run, the Big Bonk, which at 2% chance will do 20 times the damage of your hit. This is actually pretty good with the attack cooldown tone, because if we can attack super fast, then more of them will be 20x the damage. And out of nowhere, I find this.
So it's the shiny banana. Excuse me?
But right after, I get way too confident and summon the tier 2 boss mad early. And this dude had 567,000 health. Obviously, I die shortly after, peaking at 2,700 kills. Not too bad, but I know I can do better. After that round, we unlock the revolver and the next character, Clank. He starts out with this revolver and gains 1% crit chance every time you level up. For my first run with him, I have the Speedrunner challenge activated. This makes it so that we only have 6 minutes to complete the run and defeat the boss. And this one's on tier 1 instead of tier 2. So I head into this one with a sense of urgency, or at least I should have. 4 minutes into the run, I only have a few items, and I'm just now getting my second weapon, the bone. I've just been leveling up my revolver this entire time, hoping that it does well, but once the swarm comes in, we get washed. From now on, I'll keep count of the run, but I'm not showing every single one. This vid ain't that long. For run number 9, I end up using calcium for the very first time. This little skeleton dude on a skateboard. He's pretty fun to use because he's very movement based. You gradually get increases to your speed over time, but if you take damage, it halves. So you gotta be real careful and precise with your movements. The way I was playing, I was just running around, looting up items, collecting shrines, and having projectiles being thrown in my path. I really gotta get out this habit, but I summoned the boss extremely early. Surprisingly enough, because we have this moldy cheese, I was able to take him out with a little time to spare. But the problem with summoning the boss early is that it gives you less time to loot up around the map. But it doesn't really matter much, because at this time, I decided to play on tier 1 of the map because I didn't think I was ready for tier 2. Once again, I had thought that the difficulty scaled up with the tiers, but it just gets more difficult as you go on with the map more. Y'all know how it works, whatever. For run number 10, I end up using a brand new character, a character that we unlocked in run number 8, Mr. Monkey. Monk, if you will. I start off with the knockback tone, and I end up seeing this little bush with a sniper in it. Now in my head, I had thought that this is gonna be a new way to unlock a new weapon, but
What the?
It turned out to be a mini boss. Now this dude has just as much health as the main boss, and he has a sniper on top of that. It ends up gunning me down. Even though I tried my best to dodge it, his aim was just too crazy. After failing runs 11, 12, 13, and 14, I actually make it to my new record run. I start off with Fox and find this bloody tome to give me lifesteal, as we seem to be cruising. The mini boss goes down without much of a problem, and we even find this legendary shady guy who sells all super rare items, but I don't got enough money for that just yet. For my other tome, I select the damage tome, and for my other weapon, we pick up the aura, which is just this circle around me that inflicts damage periodically to enemies within that range. We spin back around later once we have some money for this overpowered lamp. And in the very next chest, after getting the legendary, we get another one, the speedboard. With a minute and a half left to go, we summon the boss and promptly take him out as we farm the final swarm for a little bit, taking up what we can. But right before the black goes head in, we go to tier number 2. Now once you have your loadout locked in, we can't really pick up any new tomes or weapons. It kind of just becomes this game of getting your levels up and getting as many good items as you can. This is what makes Fox such a good character, because of his increased luck. So we're just doing our best to open up a couple chests and go to all of our charge shrines so we can max out as many stats as high as possible. By the time the mini boss spawns in, we're able to actually do some decent damage to him because of our 2 moldy cheeses and our upgraded weapons and tomes. Now the difficult part is maneuvering around the map to hit your charge shrines while constantly being harassed by all the enemies that spawns. It just becomes a lot to handle. Since I know that the tier 2 boss has way more HP, I decided to spawn him with a little more time, 3.5 minutes left to go. But putting an end to my run, the swarm comes in, and it just turns out to be too many enemies to worry about at once, and as I mismaneuver, landing a little too close to the goblins, they take out my entire health bar in less than a second. But this does set my new record at 3,600 kills. We don't end up breaking that one until run number 20, and by now, I'm using the brand new character, Mega Chad. He starts out with Aura, and to start off, I picked up the HP tome and the precision tome. I actually really like playing with Mega Chad. He was an early favorite personally. Being able to easily control where I wanted to hit and knowing the exact range felt satisfying to play, but also it was pretty simple and straightforward to use. For my second weapon, I picked up a revolver, with the thought process being I need a little more range in my arsenal. When starting the boss fight, I'm able to defeat him the quickest I ever have, in under 30 seconds, getting a little achievement for that as well. I make my way to tier 2 with 2,000 kills to my name, and the first mini boss goes down without a hitch. I decide to start this boss fight early again to knock him out before the swarm starts, as we're able to slowly chip its health down, but when the swarm spawns in and the other mini boss spawns in, my damage just can't keep up.
No, I landed on top of these, man.
Looking back at this, my builds were complete trash, but once again, I was doing this completely blind. I didn't know your build mattered that much. This is just a few hours into my first night of playing, so I had no direction or reference. But ending that run, I actually go to the store and buy an extra weapon slot. So now I'll be able to carry 3 weapons in game. I also use some of my silver to unlock the ogre. But after 2 seconds of using them, I determined he's not for me. My next interesting run was not too long later at run 22. Where I decided to give Clank another shot. I really wanted him to work out because I really like his character design, but I wasn't too good with him. We got up to 4,430 kills, 24 kills right under my personal best that I had just set with Mega Chad. And funnily enough, the next character to break that was Mega Chad himself. On run 31, we start off with the Thunder Mitts, Beefy Ring, and Moldy Cheese. We pick up the HP tome, Precision tome, Size tome, and crazily enough, I didn't even pick up any weapons before starting the boss fight. I finally ended up picking up the sword and the flame walker. I take out the bosses, farm a little bit, and getting past the 1 minute mark, and then I head into tier 2. In hindsight, I don't know what I was cooking with this build, but it was my best one yet. The mini bosses go down easily, but I don't give myself enough time for the big boss at tier 2, as we have to continue the fight into the final swarm, as I'm having to balance between dodging these ghosts and still staying in range to do damage to the boss. This gets even more difficult once the black ghosts start to spawn in, because they start smacking me around and they're a lot faster and have more health than the white ghosts. But we are able to do enough chip damage, and a minute and a half into the final swarm, the poison damage is enough to take out Chad Bark, the tier 2 boss. I end up dying on my way back, but as expected, this did set my record at 6,355, sending me cleanly at 227,651st spot for the week. Yeah, I got no clue how to even get on the leaderboard. We set my personal best at run 31, but that record wouldn't last for long. Run after run, map after map, boss fight after boss fight. What? I'm unlocking achievements, characters, I'm doing challenge runs, using new weapons, tomes, items, everything. But I still couldn't beat that record until run 72, using none other than my guy, Monkey. By now, I got some experience in the game, right? This is 15 hours since my first run. I know what weapons I like, what weapons I don't like, and my general strategy going into these. I start off real early by running into this Moai statue, and I get extremely lucky with 3 legendary items. I end up taking the big bonk, and shortly after, I run into a legendary shrine, giving me 1 of 3 optional legendary stat upgrades. Then I find another legendary shrine right after. This is already looking like the run. As for weapons, I'm rocking the banana, the sniper, the tornado, and the aura. For the tomes, we pick up quantity, cooldown, bloody, and damage, as we're almost able to hit all of the charge shrines before we challenge the desert boss, Lil Anubis. After easily taking them down, we move on to stage 2. I feel like at this point, it shows whether your run is gonna make it or not. It's a pretty big step up from the tier 1 boss, as the boss goes from 20 to 30,000 up to over 500,000, as your damage really has to be able to scale up with the build that you've made. Of course, with this being my best run yet, it does. We actually get another weapon, a 5th weapon, the shotgun, picking up a random tumbleweed that was flying around, and since we unlocked it in that run, we get to hang on to it as an extra. But of course, we take down the mini bosses and the swarms, finishing it off with the stage 2 boss, a new bruh. He almost had 1 million health, and I even fought 2 of them, but I was able to arise victorious. Finally, we make it to stage number 3, and stage 3 is a bit different than the other 2. Instead of having a final boss fight at the end of the map, it takes you to a completely new dimension where you fight the final boss of the game. There's nothing after that. But before we get there, we go around collecting as many charge shrines and as many chests as possible. Unfortunately, with all the mobs and bosses that spawn, I wasn't able to collect everything that I could have, but I went into the final boss fight plenty confident. I knew that this was easily my best run yet and my best build that I had ever concocted at once. I was ready to make it happen. I go to the boss portal and get teleported out to the boss's dimension where he nearly has 10 million health. And I'm gonna be honest, this boss fight is not easy, bruh. As we spawn in, he instantly takes all of our weapons except the primary one that you start with. But this is generally fine because my banana is able to do enough damage to slowly chip him down. But once he crosses a certain threshold, he gets a shield, and this shield gradually regains his health over time until you take out these pillars around the stage. You can't do any damage to him until these pillars are gone, and this completely threw me off because I was already having a hard enough time dodging all of his attacks, and only being able to use one weapon was a pain. But also having to make it towards one specific area and stay within that range of the pillar while dodging his attacks made things 10 times harder. He was able to get back up to a full stack of health, and I only had one more pillar to take down, but as soon as I make it up there, I fall right off. Instead of risking my entire run, I just decided to focus on dodging. I'll let my health regain with my bloody tome and my lifesteal and give it another shot, but right, I can't regain my health because with lifesteal, I have to do damage, and I can't do damage because he has a shield on. I have to go take that last pillar. I gotta hurry up before he eventually chips my health down and kills me, but while trying to climb and get up, Monkey's passive isn't working. He's supposed to be able to climb up walls, but as you can see, he's not climbing. I keep trying to rely on it even though it wasn't working, and once we get to this pillar, because of that passive, I take damage, and after a 31-minute run, 17 hours into this game, on my closest attempt of finally winning, Megabonk broke me.
Donkey Kong, climb up the fucking wall, bro. I hate this game. Holy shit, bonker be bonked. F you.